Okay. So what we had done last time, we were at verse 1 of chapter 6, and we had all the discussion and explained everything, and then we were going to read Swamiji's commentary. That's where we were. And just to remind ourselves what this is about, Krishna Bhagwan is doing the stuti of Karma Yogi. And he's saying that Karma Yogi himself is a sannyasi and also a dhyana yogi, both. And as we will understand Karma Yoga more and more, we will understand the value of it, the real meaning of it, what it is. Because it's not just like doing some too much work or something, or just going and doing some social service. That's not what Karma Yoga is. Whatever you do, what should be the attitude. So it changes you from inside. It makes your mind pure if you keep practicing it. So that's the whole idea about Karma Yoga. So let's read Swamiji's commentary. Do I have a volunteer here who would like to read today? So, Meena ji, you can read. I'm just going to take one shawl. 1 second. Huh? I'll be back in just 1 minute. Okay, go ahead.
Umaji, you had done the translation?
Yeah.
You're finished?
Yeah,
Okay.
I did that. Yeah.
Okay. The Blessed Lord said, "He who performs his bounden duty without depending on the fruits of actions, he is a sannyasi and a yogi. Not he who has renounced is without fire and without actions."
So just to remind you over here that fire and without action, I mean the one who just gives up action. Because somehow we have the idea that sannyasi means he, not a householder, just drops everything and goes and meditates. That path is also there, but not necessarily everybody has to do it. That's what he's trying to say.
What is fire then here?
So fire, it's a symbolic thing, and we had discussed it last time. A householder uses fire to cook and all that.
Yeah.
Right? Because जो लोग संन्यास ले लेते हैं वो भिक्षुक भी बन जाते हैं ना, वो लोग फिर कुकिंग नहीं करते हैं, फिर वो like they don't, they just, other people feed them, things like that. So it symbolizes action. And also there is another, Swamiji is going to explain that in Vedas they have that karma kand. So if you have many desires, there is a way in the Vedas to fulfill them, all the good desires.
Yeah.
In the dharmic way, rituals and all that, swarg prapti and things like that.
Yes.
All that,
Yeah.
it symbolizes that.
So fire, I was trying to relate the fire and the action. Is the fire that makes you do action, or is it...
No, you use fire to do action. It's a symbolic thing. Like in Bhagavad Gita and all the scriptures, a lot of symbolic language is used. And it you don't have to take it a complete literal meaning. They're trying to give you some indication of some concept. So here they are giving you a concept that, just relate fire to action over here. That not the one who just gives up all the action. And remember, this Bhagavad Gita, you have to always remember the context. Arjun wanted to run away. Just like many times when we come across our duties which are not very pleasant, right? There are certain things we rather not do. But Krishna will say, no, do it because it's your duty, and do it as a Ishwar Arpan, and don't worry about the results. If that's what your duty is, just do it. So he's just saying that on one hand, जो संन्यास का मार्ग है वो भी एक बहुत वैलिड मार्ग है, लेकिन जरूरी नहीं है कि वही एक है मार्ग, उसी से मुक्ति मिल सकती है. So he is telling Arjun, hey, you don't need to leave all your duties and become sannyasi. If you are doing a karma yoga, that is a sannyas for you. That's what he's saying.
I think, Umaji, is this supposed to mean that he is a sannyasi and a yogi? जो कर्म योग कर रहा है वो भी सन्यासी और योगी है.
हाँ.
Not only the person who is without fire, जिसके घर में खाना पकाने के लिए आग नहीं जलती, या जो कोई एक्शंस नहीं करता, या जाके गुफा में बैठा हुआ है और सन्यास ले लिया है, उसके वो ना तो खाना पकाता है और ना वो कोई एक्शन करता है, तो वो सन्यासी जो है वो तो सन्यासी है, लेकिन जो कर्म योग कर रहा है वो भी सन्यासी है.
Very good.
Is that what it?
Yes, that's exactly what it means. Thank you so much. I think she explained it in a very beautiful manner. Yes. Yes. तो उसकी स्तुति हो गई ना. He's saying like, hey, तू कर्म योगी है, तू ऑलरेडी सन्यासी है, तुझे भागने की जरूरत ही नहीं है, तेरे को जो सन्यासी को मिलने वाला है तुझे सब मिल जाएगा. Right? That's what it is.
Okay. Apart from what we said in the introduction, another school of thought classifies the Gita and attributes the first 6 chapters to what is called Karma Kanda in the Vedas. According to them, the second bulk of 6 chapters in the Gita constitute the Upasana Kanda, and the last theme of 6 chapters represents the Jnana Kanda of the Vedas. Accepting this classification for the time being, we can appreciate Sri Shankara's insistence that this opening stanza of the chapter is a glorification of the householder who pursues his life of ritualism in a spirit of service and dedication unto the Lord.
So here, Swamiji, each Swami, when they analyze these verses, they're so loaded verses, they take different angles. So Swamiji has taken, and here he's just saying that a lot of people that divide Bhagavad Gita into 3, and just like the Vedas have 3 different sections, and यहाँ पर उन्होंने equal किया है 6 chapters का division. Vedas में actually 80% is all Karma Kand. 16% is Upasana Kand, and only 4% is Jnana Kand, with all the Upanishads and all that. So that proportion is slightly different here.
To accept the view that Krishna is here advocating or glorifying the life of ritualism would be a contradiction to the background against which the Gita has been so laboriously woven out. In the Lord's song, Krishna is advising Arjuna, a misinformed prince who was trying to behave against his own culture. The warrior is now standing in the battlefront, wanting to run away, and Krishna, his friend and charioteer, is trying to persuade the Pandava prince to stick to his bow and arrow. At this juncture, to assume that the Lord is glorifying God-dedicated performance of domestic ritualism would be a miserable contradiction.
So he's just explaining over here that he's not talking about the ritualism, because some people, they just associate the Karma Kanda with in ritualism and all that. We kind of know that here he almost, Krishna Bhagavan gave fresh definition to everything. Because when we just go by the word definition or some problem, and also in Bhagavad Gita itself, Krishna Bhagavan said that ये वाला ज्ञान उन्होंने beginning में सूर्य को दिया था, and then Vivaswan and Ishwaku, and that's how it came down. And then it got contaminated, right? Always this happens, that a pure ज्ञान over the period of time, it's a nature of things that it gets contaminated. उसमें बहुत कुछ negativity and some kind of wrong ideas come. And then somebody has to come and refresh it again. So this is what Bhagavad Gita is, refreshing some old beaten up ideas that people got stuck with,
Directly read, the stanza clearly gives its simple meaning, and no annotation seems necessary. Without much coaxing, the verse readily smiles forth its meaning to any clear-thinking reader. So far, we have been discussing in the previous chapters two parallel ideas running a neck-to-neck race for importance, namely renunciation of the sense of agency, sannyasa, and the renunciation of attachment to the fruits of action, yoga. Naturally, in this chapter, in the very opening stanza, Bhagwan had to indicate that the sannyasi is himself the yogi, and that seekers must, therefore, tirelessly employ themselves in noble endeavors, renouncing both their sense of agency and their anxiety for the fruits of action.
Okay, so this might get too technical for a lot of people, but just in simple words, that, people are at different stages of spirituality. And where you are, only you can tell. Nobody else. Other people can guide you, and Bhagavad Gita is guiding, but where you stand, you have to decide. But the early stages, the yoga is the path, and the knowledge is the final destination. So what he's saying about renunciation of agency or sannyas, the true sannyas, that is giving the doership. मैं कर रहा हूँ, जो अहंकार छोड़ना, but that is very, very difficult. You cannot drop that ahankar until you drop the fruit of action. Means, that, and fruit of action is the first step. Keep, selfless service karna. कोई भी काम कर रहे हो उसमें, remove me and mine constantly. We keep removing. Then slowly you will be able to drop the doership. बहुत मुश्किल है drop करना. Because there's a lot of sukshma ahankar is within us, So that's but both of them what they are trying to tell you is all interconnected. Like we said, if you start properly with the karma yoga and giving up fruit of action, you will slowly slide into the other one. That's what the main thing, like we were talking about, sitting in the proper train, it will take you. So it's the same person only. He has become that now. So that's how you have to look at it, that, it is like the earlier sadhana is giving up fruit of action, and then renunciation of agency is a little higher thing, but it's the same person, so he's both actually. Yeah, look at it that way. जो सन्यासी है वो already योगी है, वो वैसे ही कर्म योग करता है,
Arjuna's plan, in his own words, in the first chapter, was to escape from the battlefield in order to live the sannyasa life. He did not know that a true yogi, selfless worker, is himself the greatest sannyasi. For without renunciation, his action would become at best only a mischievous meddling with the harmony of the universe.
I mean, Swamiji couldn't have said it any better way. See, if you do like a regular work without this karma yoga attitude in it, it's just a mischievous meddling with the harmony of universe. You know that people who are very selfish and all that, they always ruin the harmony of everything. So a true karma yogi cannot be a true karma yogi unless he has this renunciation in his heart. He's renouncing the fruit of action. He's renouncing the attachments. We went through the whole thing, that what is karma yoga, don't be attached to people, places, job, this, that. You're just doing it as a karma. Just बोलते हैं ना कि नेकी कर कुएं में डाल kind of thing. That's what it is. So that renunciation is already inherent in karma yoga. And then the most important thing, Swamiji said that Arjun didn't know that the true karma yogi is himself greatest sannyasi. Because वो बोला ना कि मेरे को क्यों बोल रहे हो ये घोर कर्म करने के लिए? Why don't I go to Himalayas and meditate? If Gyan is the only one going to take me, so I'll take the Gyan that way. And Krishna said, no, you're not ready. You can't go.
As a revivalist of Hinduism, Vyasa cannot stop with merely putting this idea into the mouth of Lord Krishna. The missionary zeal with which the Gita has been expounded demands a direct hit on the existing misunderstanding in the days of Arjuna regarding true renunciation. In the Mahabharata time, sannyasa has come to symbolize crudely a formal exterior without the soft perfections within. Mere external symbolism has come to mark sannyasa without its accompaniments of mental purity and intellectual equipoise, which must ever be the real badges of a true renouncer. Arjuna had a feeling that sannyasa meant renunciation of activities, symbolized here in the language of those days as fire, and thereafter living without any duty or work.
So there is another way here. Miraji Swamiji is explaining that without fire means living without any duty. Like Miraji was explaining that the householder uses this kind of thing. So here this kind of thing happens even right now in India, right? There are a lot of ढोंगी sannyasis ऊपर से पहन लेंगे माला शाला ये सब और here he already said that without mental purity and intellectual equipoise you are not a sannyasi. And on the other hand, a person can be in suit, boot and tie and CEO of a company and he can be a perfect sannyasi. So your job, your status, nothing matters to be a true sannyasi. Anybody, anywhere, in any job can be, but the qualifications over here in Bhagavad Gita are different for being a true sannyasi,
So keep on doing your swadharma.
Yes, yeah. And we have to also understand ये नहीं है कि संन्यास में कोई जाए नहीं. अगर किसी के पास इतना renunciation उसका calling वो है to become a sannyasi, that's perfectly fine. But if तुम्हारा mental connection, householder बनने का है, तो भी तुम पहुंच सकते हो by constantly purifying yourself.
So when automatically that means over the period he's already gone through the karma yoga and everything, and then his mentally he's prepared for it. That means mentally he's pure.
Yeah, he's getting more and more pure. That's what the whole idea of karma yoga is. It's like it does the work of like scrubbing of a bartan.
Yes.
The bartan is very dirty of our mind, and karma yoga constantly is cleaning it, shining it. And then one day, and then like even in meditation, you literally will slide into it. तुम्हारा खुद ही मन करेगा कि मैं बैठ के बस करो. You don't have to force yourself then.
Yes.
अलार्म नहीं लगाना पड़ेगा फिर. You will wake up whenever, natural, sahaj mein hoga phir wo. Like, like this morning, when I was eating my breakfast, I was just listening to one interview. These were the two students of IIT, and they started studying Bhagavad Gita, and their life changed, they said. And they were like from Hare Krishna devotees, and this one person said, I started going to this professor's house because मेरे को ना वो जो मेस का खाना बोलते हैं ना, जो क्या बोलते हैं, डॉर्मेटरी का खाना बहुत मिर्ची वाला था, और वो कृष्ण भक्त था प्रोफेसर, तो वो इतना सत्संग करता था और खाना बनाता था, तो मैं वहाँ खाना खाने के लिए जाने लगा. And then I started listening, then and he was like totally sharabi kababi kind of person, he said, partying person. But खाना खाते का, then he said they used to chant this mantra, so I started chanting, and मेरे को मजा आने लगा वो chant करने में, and धीरे धीरे ना ऑटोमेटिकली कब मेरा सब छूटता गया मेरे को पता भी नहीं चला. I didn't even want to go to this party. I didn't want to drink. I didn't want to do anything. अब वो गीता पढ़ते वो एकदम, he's doing his PhD, he's doing everything, but his life completely सहज में change हो गई, So I was like, this is what they're talking about,
Yeah, sliding into it.
Yeah, कोई effort की भी, it is such a beautiful path. That, whatever Krishna Bhagwan is saying, if you actually follow it, you उसमें इतना जोर नहीं लगेगा फिर.
To escape from the buzz of life in our present state of unpreparedness into the quiet atmosphere of the banks of the Ganges is only the fall of an average good man to the level of the insentient stone in the very Ganga. At the close of this verse, Krishna laughs at Arjuna's sad misconceptions. There is no bitterness in the irony of the Lord. Soon we shall find that Arjuna also comes to laugh at his own misunderstandings.
So this he's just saying that, to escape the buzz of life and going in the quiet atmosphere and all that, when you are, thinking, this is calling an insentient stone in in the Ganga. So Bhagavad Gita is a very strong thing कि भाई अपना कर्म मत छोड़ो, right? And I tell you that lot of these great Swamis like Vivekanand ji or Yogananda, recently I when I was not well, I did the audio of autobiography of Yogi again, and at one point, like when people who are very sattvic and all, उनको ये बहुत झंझट लगता है, कोई आश्रम बनाओ, कोई ये करो, लोगों को सिखाओ, तो योगानंद जी अपने गुरु को बोलते हैं, उन्होंने कहा कि I think you should teach and all that, you should do all these things. And in the beginning he was resistant, he didn't want to do it, he just wanted to sit and meditate and be in that bliss. And he said, why you want to be so selfish? कि तुमको जो मिला है तुम बस अपने में मगन रहो, why don't you want to share it with the world? And he said it really shook him up, because he told him that you go to America because there are a lot of devotees waiting over there to learn from you, because these people, they have this, they're Trikaldarshi, they know. So there were a lot of people in America who were craving for spiritual margdarshan, and he said, you are going to be their guru, so go. And he didn't want to go. He didn't want to do all of that because वो झंझट लगता है ना. So that was such an interesting thing, that how his guru told him that God has given you such a great gift and you just want to keep it to yourself. How selfish, So that's what it is.
So you mean there was some ahankar left in him? Is that what you would say?
It's not ahankar. It's like, he was talking about his journey. I'm sure that he also had his certain things he had to, but clarity is not there. Sometimes that, it looks very nice to go and sit near the Ganga and meditate all day and all that, but it's much more noble that if you have learned something, to share it with other people and lift them up.
No, I understand. Like Gurudev Ji had in him that he came out. Once he, Gurudev Ji came down from Tapavan Maharaj's, because he had that in him that he needs to tell others. He needs to show others,
It's more like
what
this.
I mean is that he had in him, whereas you're talking about Yogananda as somebody telling, and that's what I'm trying to say. There's a difference.
But we don't know. There could be some. I think that सबका अलग-अलग path होता है. In case of Chinmayanand ji, he was sitting near the Ganga after his, everything, self-realization and all that. And he got inspired कि गंगा जाके सबका कल्याण करिए, मैं भी जाके करूं. And his background was such, he was like a great orator.
Yes.
Right? Mm-hmm. So you have to have that skill, because, to go and publicly do all these things, you need different kind of skills, and not everybody has it. You can be a self-realized person, but you may not have those skills to do that. And a lot of these people who are like Yogananda, Chinmayanand ji or Vivekanand ji, उनके गुरुओं को देखो, वो एकदम quiet type के गुरु थे. So ये लोग तैयार करते हैं इन लोगों को. So there is a whole purpose behind it, because there's a whole lineage that it happens. So there are few people who can just go and connect to people and speak and all that. But obviously, अगर उनका बस चले तो वो भी चाहते हैं कि मैं बस आराम से बैठूं and all. But the fact that they are doing, it's not that easy for them to do it. They have to face a lot of criticism. They have to face a lot of problems. But they are doing it out of their kindness of their heart. They jump into that fire to teach people. It's not that easy, but they do it because they're doing God's work. So there are many things involved in those kind of things. When you read their biographies, then you realize, because his Yogananda's dream was to go in the Himalayas from the very beginning. वो तो बचपन में भागे भी थे कई बार, फिर उनके घर वाले उनको पकड़ के ले आते थे. He wanted to go so badly to Himalayas, और उनका वो ड्रीम कभी पूरा नहीं हुआ. Because his guru directed him, said, "Nee, you are born for something else. Do that." So that's another kind of karma yoga only, right?
Yeah, it is karma yoga. Yeah.
Yeah, you can call it that way. Yeah.
The whole chapter is fully and entirely dedicated to expounding the technique of cultivation, direction, and application of the inner forces of thoughts and feelings. Hence, it is very appropriate for Krishna to indicate the greater importance of revolutionizing our inner motives and mental attitudes before we enter the path of spirituality.
So this paragraph is really telling you what Bhagavad Gita is all about. It's technique of cultivation, direction, and application of inner forces.
Yes.
Because it's all about the mind. That how to purify the mind. And then he's saying that importance of revolutionizing our inner motives. Because tumhara inner motive it is selfish, and turn it towards unselfish and mental attitude before we enter the path of spirituality. It's like almost like an entrance ticket for pure meditation, that you have to constantly purify your mind. Otherwise, you're not ready for it. And like Swamiji used to say, that before you sat in a meditation, the person is an idiot, and when he gets out, he's still an idiot. Sometimes he uses rough language to wake you up, or he will say the stones are also sitting there, for so long. वो लोग तो नहीं self realize हो गए. Unless you do that mental purity, it's not going to happen. Nothing is going to happen.
मुझे एक और बात है कि when you are in karma yoga, in a yagna spirit, तुम्हारी desire खत्म होती जाती है.
Yes.
Because you are not doing anything for yourself.
Correct. And you will be surprised ki, like when you are really doing something good in the world takes care of you. All the sukh suvidha starts pouring to you. Like I don't know if I remember that when we used to do some volunteer work and all that, तो वहाँ पर एक cooking team थी, वो कभी चाय ला रही है, कभी कुछ कर रही है, and everybody is making sure that you are comfortable. Somehow the universe helps you, and all these people like Sadhguru and all that, कितने volunteers जुड़ते हैं उनके साथ, hundreds and thousands of them, and like some people even might look at it in a negative way, but I don't. Suppose if somebody who is doing a very good work, if he goes to any city, उसके सारे भक्त आ जाएंगे उसका ख्याल रखने के लिए, फटाफट कार वार ये लेके, and then other people say, hey, why is he sitting in a Mercedes? Hey, he doesn't own the Mercedes, उसके भक्त लेके आया है, so he's just sitting. Why are you getting upset? So that's what it is. That your desire, you don't have any desire left, but the universe is going to take care of you beautifully, absolutely. There is one paragraph, you have it in your book?
Hold on.
The connecting one.
As an elucidating annotation for the quibble, which the Lord has declared in this stanza, we have his added explanations in the following, which show how sannyasa itself is yoga.
Yeah, this paragraph is just telling you that the next verse, he explaining even more now. That why? Because वो अर्जुन को और अर्जुन के द्वारा हमको ये पूरा संदेश देना चाहते हैं कि अगर तुम एस्टैब्लिश हो जाओगे ना कर्म योगा में, तुमको सब कुछ मिल जाएगा. अपने आप ही तुम सन्यासी भी बन जाओगे, ध्यान योगी भी बन जाओगे. And it's all interconnected. That's another thing. Because what people have हम लोग का beginning में क्या होता है, we start putting things in the box. अरे मुझे ये ज्ञान योग करना है, मुझे ये कर्म योग करना है, मुझे ये भक्ति योग करना है, और मुझे ये राज योग करना है, जो भी, But he's just saying that they're all interconnected, and if you start doing one, the other is going to come to you. And then you must have heard कि जो लोग true bhakt becomes a jnani, and true jnani becomes a bhakt. Have you heard of that? Yeah, it automatically just happens because one cannot live without the other. It's like two wings of a bird. To fly, the Swamiji said you need both. But you start with one, you catch the other automatically. That's what the whole thing is about. And any comment, question? Anybody has anything, any point? Before we go to the next one? Okay, so I'm assuming everything is good. Okay, so we can do the, let's see how much time. Okay, we have time.
Hariya Mumandi.
हाँ बोलिए कृष्ण
I think, I feel it's हमारी disinterest हो जाती है desire में. Desire को छोड़ना नहीं पड़ता है. Disinterest हो जाता है.
बिल्कुल वो पता या
More.
पता भी नहीं चलता है और लाइक ऑल ऑफ अ सडन से अरे मैं तो ये सब करती थी अभी मेरे को मन ही नहीं होता मैं करती नहीं हूँ
नहीं.
या और अगर ऐसे सोचे ना कि ये छोड़ना है ये करना है तो टेंशन होने लगता है लाइक और वो जो सप्रेस करके छूटता है ना वो वापस आ जाता है हैव यू सीन लाइक लोग वो लोग कोई अपना खाना पीना कंट्रोल करते हैं इस जस्ट कोई उपवास का कितना रूप बिगाड़ दिया है ना लाइक वो करवा चौथ के व्रत में मैं उपवास कर रही हूँ शाम को इतना दबा के खाएंगे 30 डिफरेंट डिशेस कि वो स्टमक ही अपसेट हो जाएगा
क्योंकि वो पूरा दिन याद है
एग्जैक्टली वेट कर रहे हैं कि कब खाना मिलेगा so true so that's true yeah good point okay so shall I go to the next verse I'm going to chant the verse यसन्न्यासमिति प्राहुः योगं तं विद्धि पाण्डव न ह्यसन्न्यस्तसङ्कल्पः योगी भवति कश्चन Yam is which, sannyasam, renunciation, iti is thus, prahuhu, they call. मतलब उनको ऐसा बुलाया जाता है kind of, that's what it means. Yogam is yoga, we know. Here when they talk about yoga is talking about the dhyana yogi यहाँ पे. Tam is that, vidhi to know. Pandava is Arjun. Arjun को different नाम से बुलाते हैं कृष्ण भगवान depending on what psychology he wants to use. So he's calling him, hey Pandava. No is not. He is verily asanyasta sankalpaha. One who has renowned thoughts. And then ये thoughts के अंदर बहुत कुछ आएगा and different Swamis explain it differently and all the explanations are valid. It's a lot of loaded word what this sankalpa means. Yogi is again the dhyana yogi. Bhavati becomes kashchana, anyone. So now he's gonna tell you the relationship between dhyana yogi and the meditator and the sannyasi. So the renunciate and the meditator. He's basically telling ki both are kind of same only, and how do one help the other? They are interlinked, basically, So पहले वाले वर्स में उन्होंने बता दिया कि भैया a good karma yogi is sannyasi and dhyana yogi both. So what is sannyas about? Sannyas means renunciation. त्याग, जिसको कुछ त्यागना पड़ता है संन्यास में, राइट? और ध्यान योग में क्या होता है? मेन थिंग क्या होता है ध्यान योग में? It's quietening the mind. So those are the two main points of what they are all about. But what Krishna Bhagavan is saying, both these aspects you see in the karma yogi. You see a spirit of renunciation, and you see that as they do the karma yoga, the mind is going to get quieter and quieter. That is the same goal in dhyana yoga also. So ये relationship बता रहे हैं. So what he's saying is that ये जो बोलते हैं ना कि इस verse में ये बताया गया है कि just consider that sannyas and dhyan yoga is it's same. That's what he's saying. You just consider them same. There is some subtle differences are there, but he's telling Arjun consider them as same. Because क्या होता है कि like नखिलानंद जी बोल रहे थे कि जब हम लोग सब पढ़ने लगते हैं ना भगवद गीता और some other spiritual texts and all that, so उसमें different path लोग बोलते हैं, right? So we get a little bit confused, but they are telling you over here they are all complementary and connected. That's what they are telling you over here. And one helps the other, So So we should not feel that the sannyas is different than karma yoga or different from dhyana yoga. That's what he's telling you. And what it is let's kind of analyze a little bit more कि क्या उसमें हमको करना पड़ता है. So what is the similarity? ध्यान योग करने के लिए renunciation is very important, right? Because without renouncing the outside world and all, we cannot go in the dhyan yoga. Or sannyas के लिए be quietude of mind is required. Otherwise you cannot, because if your mind is always, मुझे ये मिल जाए वो मिल जाए, then you're not a sannyasi anyway. Like we were saying that your desires have to melt away. And then another word over here he uses, that without giving up sankalp, he uses a word, you cannot become a good meditator. And then we are going to see in detail what this means. And Swamiji has his explanation in detail about what sankalp is. And Nikhilananji also gave a very, very nice definition of what include, and I'll go for it in a few minutes. And also that we have determined that without having the peacefulness and quietude, you cannot become a good sannyasi. So they are both complementing each other. So basically what he's saying, that the more and more we renounce in our life, the more our mind becomes quiet, which is the same thing that a dhyana yogi is also doing. Okay, and the more my mind becomes quiet, it's easier for me to drop the attachment also. So that's why they are complementary to each other. So in deep state of meditation, what do? We keep on dropping what I am holding on by ignorance, right? That's the whole idea, that if I want to sit and meditate, my whole idea is dropping all my what I'm holding on to and connecting to the higher. So that is the purpose. And what do we hold on to? We hold on to our body, mind, thoughts, experiences, memories, my this, my that. And as you drop, you get deeper and deeper into meditation. And there is one Vedic arti. Kamala ji is not here today, but we do it in Chinmaya Mission. Na karmana na prajaya dhanena, right? Meena ji knows this. Others may know. This is a Vedic arti. It's a त्यागे नैके अमृतत्व मानुषु. उसका मतलब है कि न कर्म से तुमको मिलेगा अमृतत्व. अमृतत्व means merging with that God or having the self-realization. न action से मिलेगा, न people can give you, न धन से मिलेगा. Only by renunciation you get that. So it's giving you the value of renunciation in that arti. So only by giving up you get the immortality. And so basically you are giving, जैसे बोलते हैं ना कि I think we have done the verse in Bhagavad Gita, you give up my and I, or I and my, you can say. First me and then ये सब मेरा है. And like our teacher used to, or Swami, even Gurudev, Chinmayananji used to say, we have such a wrong notion कि ये सब मेरा है. We didn't come with anything. And we are not going to go with anything. So in between, so nature provides you everything. All the toys to play with and, everything that you have, that nature provides. So we have. And that the whole drishtant about जो उन्होंने बटर की चोरी की ना, I don't know if all of you know it or not. Some of you might definitely know it. About Krishna Bhagwan did, को माखन चोर बोलते हैं ना. So say, hey, why is he a chore? He said, no, he's not a chore. All of us are chore. Why? Because we think it is ours. He's just taking his own stuff. वो हांडी में छुपा दिया, mine. And he said, hello, it's not. Did you bring this is your cow? Did you produce the cow? Nothing is yours. But that's the whole symbolism behind it. That, he is not the chore, we are the chores. So that's what the whole thing is about. So another very important thing that, Nikhilanandji brought out, that meditation is not some action that we have to do. It's nothing to do with an action. It's only about dropping attachments. Think about it. All the other preparation that we do, that you can call it action, but that is just a preparation for meditation. If we quiet jagah pe baitho, and all that will be coming now in detail. But actually, the crux of the meditation is you're dropping the attachment. And then he gave the most beautiful example. He said, it's like a person sitting, ek boat ja rahi hai, right? And then you sit in the boat. So what will happen? You will also move, and according to the boat, you are also, dancing away in the water. But then you drop the boat, you get out of the boat and you sit on the shore. So you are not in the boat anymore. So you are not moving anymore. So that's the analogy he gave for meditation. It was so good. So he's saying, what we are seated in our body, our mind, our intellect, means we are kind of so attached to it as though we are sitting in some kind of boat of mind, intellect, and all that. And meditation में तुम उतर जाते हो उस boat से. और एक, you break that connection, then you are not going up and down, and you have kind of dropped it. So I thought that was a very, very good. So that's why it is, you are dropping it, and that is a sannyas. Detachment, So
is it correct to say you're separating yourself from your body? You're
Yes.
becoming the witness?
Yes, exactly. You're becoming the witness, and you are realizing I'm not the body.
Seeing it.
Yeah, you're seeing that. That's the whole idea in meditation, yeah. And then let's go for this sankalpa thing. So, Swamiji is going to explain in his own way. वो थोड़ा complicated है Swamiji का. मेरे को निखिलानंद जी का definition easy लगा, so I'm going to share it with you. That he said संकल्प में ना, एक हिंदी में जो हिंदी भाषी है उनको पता है कि कोई चीज के लिए हम संकल्प करते हैं, मुझे ये करना है वगैरह. That's the dictionary meaning of sankalp. But over here in Bhagavad Gita, sankalp is like all my desires in my mind. Because think about it, जब desire होती है तभी संकल्प होता है. Even if you go to the dictionary definition, अगर मुझे कुछ चाहिए तो पहले desire आती है, फिर मैं उसके पीछे भागती हूँ. और वो उसके पीछे भागने की जितनी भी प्रक्रिया है ना, वो सब आ जाती है संकल्प में. Okay? So my thoughts, my various concepts in my head are also comes under sankalp only. My ideas and concept, and the idea of this little I, this ahankar, me and mine and all that also comes under sankalp. These are all the things. Without dropping this, you cannot become a sannyasi or a dhyana yogi. That's what he's saying in this verse, that no one can verily become a yogi who's not renounced thoughts or sankalp. So he gave an example. He said कि किसी चीज को पकड़ के रखने में ना बहुत एफर्ट लगता है. And he said कि एक ग्लास है पानी का, और मैं पानी पी के छोड़ दिया तो ठीक है. अगर मैं उसको पकड़े ही रहूं पूरे दिन, it will become such a big burden. पर हम लोग अपने थॉट्स के बारे में ये नहीं सोचते हैं. So it weighs you down, and that most of the people who are, जिन्होंने संकल्प छोड़ दिया, मतलब जिनका माइंड प्योर हो गया, उनको थकावट नहीं होती है जल्दी से. They can work like 18-20, उनको नींद भी 2-3 घंटे ही चाहिए करने के लिए. और हम लोग ट्रैवल भी करते हैं ना, कुछ हम लोग करते नहीं है. पैसेंजर में बैठे हैं, पैसेंजर सीट पे, एंड से ओह माय गॉड मैं इतना थक गई, बिकॉज हम लोग का माइंड चलता रहता है. That's what wears you down, So that's what he's talking about, that, this sankalpa thing. So another beautiful example he gave, he said कि when we go to sleep, we have to drop everything, correct? Otherwise नींद ही नहीं आएगी. डीप स्लीप में हम लोग को हम बॉडी माइंड सब कुछ छूट जाता है हमारा. So same way in meditation also, that we are learning to drop, and end में क्या होता है कि जब he was giving this example, I thought it was so good. So he's saying that in let me go back to first meditation. So meditation is about detachment. So it's like freeing yourself. So you are dropping in a sense of I, that little I you're talking about. And end mein na, you drop everything. That's when you merge, he was talking about. And the beautiful example he gave was of a river. I will come to the sleep example also, but I want to give a river's example first. When the river merges into ocean, that's what happens in the meditation, that once you completely drop everything, you merge. And he's saying that when you completely drop your identity. So the Ganga does not remain a Ganga. वो गंगा सागर में जाने के बाद वो सागर बन जाती है, right? That's why ये तीर्थ स्थानों का जो है ना, ये संगम बोलते हैं जिसको, जहाँ पर या तो दो नदियाँ मिलती हैं या तो अपनी आइडेंटिटी खो देते हैं. फिर वो एक नदी ने दूसरी नदी में मिलकर आइडेंटिटी खो दी, इसलिए उसको इतना पवित्र माना जाता है. और जब 3 नदियों का संगम होता है तो 3 मर्ज हो जाती हैं, फिर वो जाके सागर में मिलती हैं, तो वो भी एक गंगा सागर वगैरह जहाँ भी नदियाँ मिलती हैं, इसका बहुत पवित्र स्थान माना जाता है, बिकॉज दे हैव लॉस्ट देयर आइडेंटिटी, बिकम वन विद दैट. सो दैट्स व्हाट ही इज टॉकिंग अबाउट, दैट व्हेन वी आर ड्रॉपिंग एंड मर्जिंग. ओके, इफ यू डोंट ड्रॉप यू कैन नॉट मर्ज. अगर गंगा बोले कि मैं गंगा ही रहना चाहती हूँ, फिर वो मर्ज नहीं होगी. So that's why when Krishna Bhagwan said that without, tyag, you cannot become a sannyasi anyway. That's what he means. Okay. And then let's go back to that other example. And before I go to that other example, I think that Krishna ji had brought that point that वो अपने आप छूट जाता है. So what he's saying, lower को छोड़ने के लिए ना higher को पकड़ना पड़ता है. So if you are holding on to something higher, वो lower अपने आप छूट जाएगा. And he's saying, उन्होंने एक बच्चे का एग्जाम्पल दिया. एक बच्चा एक खिलौना पकड़ के बैठा है और दे नहीं रहा है, तो हम लोग क्या करते हैं, सबसे पुरानी ट्रिक मदर्स यूज एंड ग्रैंड माज यूज, कुछ और दिया उसके हाथ में तो वो फट से छोड़ देगा. समथिंग मोर अट्रैक्टिव यू गिव इट. So that's what we have to do with our mind, because it's not that easy for us to just drop everything. It's not going to happen until you give something higher. Okay, so same way, mind is holding on to many things, but you give it, all the mantras or the shlokas which talk about who Bhagwan is. Those are the things we got to hold on. If you in meditation, how do I revel in self? There are lots of mantras are going to come, shlokas are going to come about it, So now let's go back to the sleep example. The way he was explaining was so nice. He said, जब शुरू में ना हम लोग को थोड़ी मेहनत करनी पड़ती है सोने के लिए, in a sense, we prepare ourselves. We'll wear some night clothes and we will just make the room dark and things like that. So those are the preparation, huh? But एक बार जब हम लोग लेट जाते हैं and then we have dropped all our worries and things like that, तो नींद आने लगती है धीरे धीरे. जब वो नींद आती है ना, तो उसका स्वाद आने लगता है नींद का, फिर वो नींद खींच लेती है तुमको. Okay, so same way he said in meditation, in the beginning, you are doing all the preparation, you are dropping, then that dropping becomes sahaj and more powerful and just pulls you in. And that's why he was saying that we know when in the sleep, we don't know when the sleep comes, right? No, nobody can put the exact time. Same thing if you hear the experience of all these people who have had this merging experience, like Sadhguru and all that. He said they didn't even know kitna time beat gaya already. It just sucked them in, the whole thing, So that's why I thought this was a very good analogy that he gave. So basically what this verse is telling you, that when you progress in meditation, sannyas becomes easy. When you progress in sannyas, meditation becomes easy. And the conclusion we already know, good karma yogi, sannyasi and meditator both. Any question? Question, comment? Anybody wants to add anything? Everybody became very serious. Went into meditation. So we have 10 minutes. We can read Swamiji's commentary. Dr. Prabhakar?
Yeah, I just wanted to take us. I want you to take me back onto the sankalpa, and even when you do certain rituals in the beginning, you do sankalpa.
Yeah.
When you are praying or when you are doing Gayatri mantra and those things, you do sankalpa and then you do Gayatri mantra. So here, the analogy might have been used, but do you think that the sankalpa should not be done, or
no? I think that see, that's what I have learned over the years studying Bhagavad Gita for so many years now, that certain words have different meanings at different times. So what you are talking about, that sankalpa, that's fine to do, no problem. Because when we function in the world without sankalpa, we cannot function. If I want to, like, I have to be ready at 11 o'clock. So I have to do that sankalpa. Hey, I finish everything and come here. All of you did that. Us context mein theek hai. What they are talking about, the context here is when you are sitting in meditation.
Okay.
That's the time सारे संकल्प को छोड़ना पड़ेगा. टू डू लिस्ट को छोड़ना पड़ेगा. उसके बिना तुम नहीं कर सकते.
Can you do a sankalpa to meditate?
That's a very good one. That's a better sankalpa for sure, because like Tejo Menon ji gave this such a great analogy. He said कि desires, बोलते ना, desireless बन जाओ. कितना मुश्किल लगता है ना कि भाई कैसे बन जाए. स्पेशली टीनेजर्स को तो हम नहीं बोल सकते ऐसे. हिट ड्रॉप भाग जाएंगे क्लास छोड़ के. We cannot tell them. No. कोई एक ऐसी डिजायर रखो कि अपने आप सारी फुलफिल हो जाए डिजायर. Right? So that's why desire for God is that's how it is.
Absolutely correct.
So if you desire that one, so उसको हम दोनों ढंग से ले सकते हैं. सारी डिजायर छोड़ दो या तुमको सब कुछ मिल जाए. We obviously like that aspect better कि सब कुछ मिल जाए मुझे. So और दूसरी बात क्या है कि जो कर्म कांड में ना जो डिजायर फुलफिलमेंट के संकल्प होते हैं ना, उसका ज्यादा महत्व नहीं दिया है कृष्ण भगवान ने. He always try to get you away from it, because even Kathoupanishad and all going to say, okay, स्वर्ग प्राप्ति, because वो सारे यज्ञ होमा यागा इसीलिए लोग करना शुरू करते हैं कि भाई मेरा सब घर में ये खूब फूले. There's nothing wrong with it. I'm not saying that, but here they are taking you to a higher state where you reach and you automatically get everything. You get fulfilled. So that's how. So here it's not very cut and dry, all the definition. You got to see what they're trying to say. You got to catch it.
I want you to again define for me karma yogi, dhyana yogi and sannyasa.
So what Krishna Bhagwan is saying, they are all interlinked. If karma yoga mein kya hota hai ki two main aspects are that you are doing the work as a servant of God bolo या God dedicated, भगवान के लिए मैं कर रही हूँ.
Okay.
हाँ, और उसका जो रिजल्ट आता है ना, वो भगवान का प्रसाद है. प्रसाद में हम लोग नखरे नहीं करते हैं. अच्छा हो बुरा हो, we just take it. We don't say ki, oh, I don't eat this, I don't eat that. No, prasad means you just take it. Yeah. So that's the main thing. What he's saying is, once you start doing that, you are automatic, because you are giving a fruit of action. No? So तुम already sannyasi हो. देखो, That's the true meaning of sannyasi, right?
Okay.
And then ध्यान योगी में क्या होता है? ध्यान योग में मेन होता है कि मैं I'm dropping,
Okay.
I'm becoming quiet. तो ये जो ट्रू कर्म योगी है ऑटोमेटिकली वो क्वाइट होता जा रहा है.
अच्छा.
हाँ, so that is a relationship.
Okay.
So वो अर्जुन को बोल रहे हैं कि भाई तेरे को जाके भाग के सन्यासी बनने की जरूरत नहीं है, जाके बैठ के अभी मेडिटेट करने की जरूरत नहीं है. अगर तू ये युद्ध है ना कर्म योगी की ढंग से लड़ेगा तो तेरा ऑटोमेटिकली तू वहां तक पहुंच जाएगा. That's what he's telling.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I just wanted to go back to Sankalp for 1 minute.
Yes.
तो प्रभाकर जी आपने कहा कि हम मेडिटेट करने के लिए संकल्प कर सकते हैं क्या? तो from what I understand from what Uma ji just explained, तो मुझे ये लगता है कि in the beginning it's a good idea because it's a stepping stone, and once you reach that stage you will not even need sankalp. वो अपने आप ही आपको automatically suck in कर लेगा. Is that correct, Uma ji?
Yes,
Okay.
exactly right.
Okay.
Yes,
All right.
yes.
All right. Thanks.
Umaji, Sankalp, I think somewhere else also it comes up where it says don't do too many Sankalpas. They were talking about Sankalp as making promises, which is like making a fort in the air. You know you're not going to do it. They said don't make too many Sankalps and then break them. So it comes up in Geeta, I don't know where it comes up, but this is one definition is given that sankalpas are like making promises. You know you're not going to be able to do it, and you keep making them and then breaking them. And in the process, you get more agitated.
Maybe you can next time do some research and bring that verse because I don't remember like that kind of connection, but there might be. Yeah, you know, there are 700 verses. So you can do definitely. And here, Swamiji, today we don't have time to read. We will read next time this Swamiji's commentary. He was talking about कि संकल्प को उन्होंने ना एक imagination for the future का दिया है definition. कि भाई हम लोग है ना एक कुछ गोल हम लोग बनाते हैं, हम लोग को आइडिया होता है कि ये चाहिए, उसको बदलते रहते हैं हम लोग.
That's exactly what I was saying.
Yes, yeah, that's how he explained it, the sankalpa. So everybody's definition is correct, and you know basically you know what it is. I'm sorry. Yes, Joe.
Yeah, on sankalp. Can you hear?
Yes, we can hear.
Okay. So anything you are doing, you want to take all those energy and move towards a goal, and that is the sankalp. And that could be even your meditation, or like we went to this Havan at Saneshwar's house, the Devi Havan, and he said your Havan created all these energies. So you could do a sankalp and then dedicate that energy to that sankalp, and that will happen. So sankalp is a goal in directing all your energy, whatever you are doing, towards that.
So here, the reason they said that to be a kind of a sannyasi or a dhyan yogi, you got to drop sankalp. What context they are saying over here is this, and that we have done in chapter 3 and 4 also probably, that we plan something, okay, and then we have a goal कि हमको ये करना है, संकल्प बोल दो उसको. But while doing the work, if my mind is at a fixed goal, my work will bomb completely. It's like the athlete, you know, he's running, and if he keeps looking back, am I going to be number one or not? He's not going to make it. He got to put all his energy in his work and drop the sankalp at that time. See what I'm saying? So Karma Yogi has to do that.
When we were doing the Havan, we didn't have a sankalp.
Beginning में किया वो ठीक है, हाँ?
When we got all done, then what he said was, so all this energy you have created, and you can use that if you do a sankalp, and energy will rearrange your future in such a way that your sankalp will be met. This was the exact word he had.
True, but what I'm telling you that what context though what they are saying. Wo sankalp is totally fine, you know. Yeah, that's all I'm saying. That don't mix the two sankalpas. all they are telling you that when you want to merge with the higher, you have to drop everything, and we have talked about it. You have to even drop the desire that I want God also at that time.
Yeah, of course.
You know, that's in that context he's talking about sankalpa.
Yeah,
That's all.
because you will never find God if you want to find God.
Yes, now you got it.
Happen. You
Yes.
cannot ask.
It's like a sleep that, you know, I cannot have, if you have a sankalp, मुझे नींद आनी चाहिए, वो उस anxiety में नहीं आएगी. You know, so if you want to slide into sleep, you just do all the preparation and let go. And then that's why they explain it in another way also. They said that when that Brahman wants you, it will pull you. Your job is to prepare. So your job is to keep dropping and drop all the sankalp also. And when Brahman will pull you in, merge you. So those are, it's, you know, in Bhagavad Gita or Vedanta and all that, there is no 2 + 2 is 4. That's not how it works. That's why you gotta meditate upon it. You gotta contemplate. You gotta, you know, look at it from, and then it sinks in slowly. Sometimes you can't even express in the world, but as long as you got the gist of it, that's what matters.
So in relation to meditation, I would say, I used it that way and it worked, that every time you meditate, you're moving towards meditation.
Yes,
Like
yes,
yeah.
exactly.
Now, every day you reach certain depth. And to me, Sankalp is your mantra, which puts a bookmark at that depth. So next day when you start from there and move deeper. So
Yeah.
that to me is more like a Sankalp for meditation. It's not the ultimate goal. And so there's a difference, yeah.
So you can say that in the beginning, like I think that Meeraji explained that, you know, in the beginning, it's sankalp is fine if it's a good sankalp, obviously. But then in the end, you will drop that too. So if you want to look at it that way, that's fine too. But all he's telling you, final goal ke liye chhodna padega tumko.
Once you merge as Brahma, you don't have a Sankalp anyway.
Because जिसके पास सब कुछ है वो संकल्प करेगा क्या?
Yeah.
सोचो. You know, जिसको पास $1 billion मिल गया है तो वो तो नहीं करेगा कि ना मुझे $5 और मिल जाए. He's got everything. If the whole universe is his, then, you know, he has no need to do sankalp.
Right.
Okay, good discussion. Shall I close Bhagavad Gita? सर्वधर्मान् परित्यज्य मामेकं शरणं व्रज अहं त्वा सर्वपापेभ्यः मोक्षयिष्यामि मा शुचः हरि ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः हरि ओम. So Kathoupanishad, we are on verse 17 of Valli 3 of chapter 1. Chapter 1, Valli 3, verse 17. We finished verse 16 last time, and these are the last 2 mantras of chapter 1, and then there is a Shanti part that everybody knows. Om Sahana Bhavatu is there in this Upanishad. So that's where it came from. I think a couple of Upanishads have that. And so here they call it Phala Shruti. You know, it's trying to encourage you to, sorry, Meenaji.
Let's do the prayer.
Yes, true. Thank you. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karvavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om. So basically I was saying that they are encouraging you to take up the study. So, you know, giving you some kind of pointers. Just look at it from that perspective. But of course, you know, Tejomayananji has done, you know, some more analysis of it, what it is and all, and I'll just talk about that. So here is the verse. Whoever has a book, verse 17. Yam imam paramam guhyam shravayed brahma sansadi prayata shraddha kale va tadanyant kalpate tadantyaya kalpata iti Kathoupanishadi Prathamadhyaye Tritiya Valli. So Yaha is who, Imam is this story. Paramam is the highest or supreme. Param Hindi mein word hai na. Guhyam. And this word we will try to analyze what it means. Here it says secret and mysterious. So it is not something like, oh, secret means don't tell anybody kind of secret. Not that kind of secret. We'll see in what context they're talking about secret. Shravayet is causes to be recited. A person who says it to another person. That's what it means. Brahma Sansadi. Before the assembly of Brahmanas. So when we say Brahmana, Sattvic people. You know. Because वो सात्विक नहीं होगा तो सुनने के लिए भी तैयार नहीं होगा. You know, so that's what it is. Prayatah is with devotion or purity. You know, जिन्होंने अपने mind को pure किया हुआ है. Shraddha kale. We know that when people depart from this world, we do the shraddha for them. So he's talking about that at the time of shraddha ceremony for our forefathers. Va is or, tada is then, Anantyaya for immortality. Anant ko mil jo kalpate is made fit. Tadantyaya kalpate iti. Then he is fit to obtain immortality thus. So this thing is repeated twice, as you can see in this. So whoever has a book, Tanandhyaya kalpate, Nanandhyaya kalpate iti. दो बार बोला है. And one of the reason they do it is when something is ending, because वो पहले के ज़माने में वो लोग लिखित नहीं होता था ना, ये श्रुति, they used to just memorize it. So how do you know that the chapter is ended? So this was the trick they used. And of course then it also says that it ended also. So that's what. So let's see what he's saying. So previous verse में क्या बोला था उन्होंने? The intelligent one, having heard and related this ancient story of Nachiketa as told by the Lord Death, is glorified in the world of Brahman. So we had discussed that how the person who speaks that and a person who listens and understands and all that, उसको महानता प्राप्त हो जाती है. And basically वो merge हो जाता है ब्रह्मन के साथ. It has a capacity to do that. Basically Brahma Vidya, it has a capacity to give you Brahma Vidya. So what he's saying in this verse now is, any person, जो कोई भी हो, who makes other person listen this. Okay? So what does that mean? He has to remember it, what he has studied himself, right? Then he has to recite or speak or give a discourse. Anybody who does that, and so किसी को बताने के लिए खुद भी समझना पड़ेगा, right? So भगवत गीता में भी ऐसा वर्ड्स आता है कि कि जो दूसरों को ये भगवत गीता सिखाता है वो मुझे बहुत प्रिय है, So whatever, and we were talking about the Yogananda and his guru said that why you want to just keep it to yourself, whatever you have gained, go share it with everybody. So that tells all of you also. And I think Krishna ji is here, right? Yeah, today, is she here? She was saying that how when she does the word, she goes and tells her sister, the whole thing. Sister is not in the class, but her sister is also enjoying. And he said, not Krishna ji, kaun bola mujhe ye? Sheila ji said that. Yeah, Sheila ji is here, right? I got confused. Sorry, not Krishna ji. Sheila ji, yeah, she's smiling. She said that her sister started enjoying Kathoupanishad because she started telling her the story. And then she's saying, मैं उनको बताती हूँ तो मेरा भी revise हो जाता है सारा. So that's a tip for all of you. Go tell few of your friends. Yes.
That's what you are doing for all of us.
Yes, and मैं तो सभी को बोलती हूँ कि सभी बोलते हैं oh thank you, बोला नहीं मेरे को thank you 1000 बार आप सभी को, because आप लोगों की वजह से I'm getting more deep into it, and our teacher used to say the same thing in our study group. She said that I also get more deeper into it, more connected to it, and so I'm very, very thankful to all of you. So. And then what he's talking about, in the assembly of Brahmanas, but that also has a symbolic thing. But those sattva gun pradhan जो होते हैं लोग, virtuous लोग होते हैं, और who are interested in this knowledge. Because अगर वो कोई इंटरेस्ट नहीं होगा ना किसको, और आप उसको ये नॉलेज दोगे ना, तो इट विल बी लाइक भैंस के आगे बीन बजाने वाली बात होगी. वो सुनने को भी तैयार नहीं होगा, वो आर्ग्यू भी करेगा, और वो they will just think that you're wasting their time. So you don't need to do that either. So people who are interested, उसको जाके बोलो तब फायदा होएगा कुछ. So that's what it is. And then Tejomayanand ji said you can explain with your own capacity, which is fine, because even I don't know everything, but I'm just doing whatever I have learned. I'm just sharing, and one main thing that our teacher used to always say is be rooted in those verses. Don't start going here and there, come back to those. That's why we kind of keep this book right in front of us when we are doing it. And then the other word over here that he said, this ये जो गुह्यम है, परम गुह्यम बोला गया. And whoever has studied Bhagavad Gita will know that chapter 9, उसका नाम ही है the royal secret English में, because उसको गुह्य इसलिए बोला है कि एक तो परम बोला है, परम means highest, highest knowledge, और गुह्यम इसके लिए not कि बे किसी को बताओ मत ऐसा सीक्रेट, बिकॉज वो रॉन्ग आइडिया भी इंडिया में लोगों ने ले लिया था कि भाई ये खाली ब्राह्मण नहीं पढ़ सकते हैं वेदास एंड नोबडी एल्स कैन डू इट एंड ऑल दैट. Not from that perspective at all.
Swamiji, it's very deep also. Gurya means actually deep also.
Correct. So it is in the deep.
Yeah. Itna usko suksham se jano.
Sukshma, correct.
Yeah, it's suksham and deep.
Yes.
It's not actually secret. Some these Hindi Sanskrit words don't have exact word in English.
Perfect. That's very true. So the guhya bola na, to one of the things is कि it is not easily available to everybody, because you cannot grasp it by your five senses, right? So उस sense में it is a guhyam, and इसको यहाँ पर उत्तम बोला है ना, highest one. And जो भगवत गीता में जो चैप्टर 9 है ना, उसमें बहुत से और भी एडजेक्टिव्स दिए हुए हैं उसको. पवित्रम, it makes, if you study this, then all the पवित्रता आ जाती है तुम्हारे में, and things like that. So he was just, Tejomayanand was bringing just some of those words also. And then, like I said, that one of the reasons they call it a secret is because you cannot get it by arguments or logic or intellect. कभी कभी बोलते हैं कि जितना ज़्यादा वो इंटेलिजेंट आदमी होता है ना, उसको ज़्यादा प्रॉब्लम होता है ब्रह्म विद्या पाने में, बिकॉज वो उसमें नुक्स ही निकालता रहता है सारा टाइम, और उसको एकदम परफेक्ट लॉजिक चाहिए जो यहाँ पर you have to rise above all that basically. So that's why it is another reason that is Gurya. And the other thing is like what Krishna ji said, that it is deep in your heart. We learned that in Kathoupanishad itself, कि it is like तुम्हारी बुद्धि गुहा में है. वो तो गुह्य वर्ड वो गुहा से आया है कि केव ऑफ योर इंटेलेक्ट यहाँ पर बोला है, पर जो हमारा विचारों का जंगल है, एक वर्स था उसमें, अगर किसी को याद होगा कठोपनिषद में, कि तुम्हारे विचारों के जंगल के नीचे छुपा हुआ है, बिकॉज हमारे विचार की शक्ति भी उसी से आती है. a dead man cannot think. So basically जो चेतना है वो वहाँ उसकी गुफा में है, और like this is spiritual heart भी बोल सकते हैं. It is at the cave of the spiritual heart. उस sense में ये सब है. And the other word over here is that prayatah word, right? So prayatah is, one who has purified himself. And we saw that all these karma yoga, dhyana yoga, all these things, they are the ones that purify you. So basically the person who recites and all that person in the end, he's going to say that he obtains immortality. But there's one more thing he talks about over here. He's saying श्राद्ध काले के टाइम पे, श्राद्ध काल के समय में, so तेजोमेनन जी was explaining कि दो ढंग क्या होता है. एक होता है लौकिक ढंग से हम किसी की पद्धति से हम लोग करते हैं कि भाई किसी को somebody passed away, so some people take a picture and put the garland on it, or they go do some puja, they do some havan, they go to some orphanage, or they might donate to their favorite charity in their name, all those things, feed the poor and all. Very good, great. And the दूसरा है वैदिक पद्धति में के लिए क्या बोला कि जब तुम वो ब्राह्मणों को दक्षिणा दे रहे हो, भोज कर रहे हो, वो टाइम पे रिसाइट करो ये कठोपनिषद. Okay? So what will happen when you recite according to this verse? So he's saying कि उसका जो श्रद्धा का श्राद्ध का जो कर्म होगा ना, उसका रिजल्ट मैनी फोल्ड हो जाएगा. But this is just a symbolic thing. Okay, it is basically telling you the glory of Kathoupanishad, because what happens is that sometimes somebody might just listen for the first time and all of a sudden get interested in it. Wow, there is something to it. Sheilaji was talking about it, that in the beginning when we started the Kathoupanishad, saying, wow, I just love this, and then so it sucks you in, and then it takes you to the deeper level, because you want to study it more, and it's giving you the Brahma Vidya. It has a capacity to give you Brahma Vidya. How much you delve into it, that is up to you, right? So that's what it is. And somebody was saying that भगवद गीता को भी इतना स्ट्रेटेजिकली उन्होंने डाला है महाभारत में. महाभारत इज लाइक वन बिग सोप ऑपरा. इतना हंगामा और सब लड़ रहे हैं, ये वो कर रहे हैं, लोगों को बड़ा इंटरेस्ट आता है सब सुनने में. कोई किसी को भगवद गीता डायरेक्टली बोला तो आधे से ज्यादा लोग भाग जाएंगे. मगर किसी को महाभारत पढ़ना होगा तो ही हैज टू गो थ्रू भगवद गीता. थिंक अबाउट इट. हम लोग को तो कहानी मालूम है, बचपन से हम लोग को बता दिया गया है, पांडव कौरव लड़े, फिर ये हुआ वो हुआ. समझो किसी ने कभी नहीं सुनी है महाभारत. उसको तुम सुनाने लगो महाभारत. अभी एक जंक्चर पे आ गया महाभारत की, एक महायुद्ध, वर्ल्ड वॉर होने वाला है, और यहाँ पर दो सेनाएं खड़ी है, और क्या होगा पता नहीं, उसके बीच में डाल दिया उन्होंने भगवद गीता को. मतलब उसका एंड सुनने के लिए पहले तुमको भगवद गीता सुननी